So I hope you all had an absolute great day, because today we have to go talk about our favorite Nintendo fanboy again, Harmon Smith. I know, what a shocker, there's nothing really else going on this week except Reforged Gaming, or the discount Jimmy Neutron getting laughed at by everyone again for his absolute dogshit journalism. So I thought I would just go take a look at Harmon Smith, and it turns out he made a video about how PC gaming is dead, and it's irrelevant compared to the Nintendo Switch. You know, one of the most versatile platforms that any console, any platform will never be able to replicate the same as a PC, is somehow irrelevant.
PC gaming is dying a death.
That's right, guys. The platform that is responsible for keeping Nintendo's older games alive is dying. That is also responsible for a majority of a relatively free market of games that come from all these different publishers that is not constrained by one individual publisher like a console is. I don't know about you, Harmon, but that doesn't seem right to me. Something says that maybe Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo would go before PC gaming ever does.
And I think it begins and ends with the superiority of Nintendo consoles.
You're telling me a Nintendo Switch, a platform that can only be used to play games, is somehow better than a PC that is a multi-purpose platform? I really want to know what metric you're using to determine that a Nintendo Switch is better than a PC. What, is it your own schizophrenic logic?
Gaming PCs in every way. They have way more functionality. They're way more fun to play with friends. They have way better software.
That's right, guys. A $300 console is somehow better than a gaming PC with more CPU, more RAM, more VRAM. Just think of it, it has better everything. But somehow Nintendo did it. They hit it big. They somehow made a $300 platform somehow do better than a $4,000 gaming PC. Just listen to Harmon's flawless logic. It's got way more functionality than a gaming PC. Like, think about it. Imagine being one of those people developing a game on a Nintendo Switch. You know, I really am impressed that those people are able to run their games at 720p 30 FPS. So who was gonna tell Harmon that all of his favorite Nintendo exclusives are developed through PC and bug tested probably on PC? It's gonna be a real big reality check for him.
But the issue over the past 10 or so years is that the PC master race, the delusional group of terminally online weirdos who refuse to accept anything other than PC gaming as being a relevant gaming platform, have been attempting to gaslight people into thinking PC gaming is superior.
That's because it is, Harmon. PC gaming is very much superior. There's no point trying to compare consoles to PCs. PCs would just win regardless.
In spite of basically relying on multi-plat releases from Xbox and PlayStation in order to stay relevant.
We would be absolutely fine without them. I can say this for a certain, we do not need them, and it's not like Sony and Microsoft are actually going out of their way to make good games, so even then, we really don't need them. PC gets more than enough games on its own to suffice itself. And that's only me talking about Steam. There are so many other platforms on PC where you can get games either for free through emulation, piracy, you know what I mean. You can just get stuff everywhere. Steam is not the only place where you get games. So when you try to say that Microsoft and Sony are going to carry us, their games are nothing compared to the quantity that we have on PC overall.
Right? PC gaming is so irrelevant.
If it's irrelevant, why are you talking about it?
That it's major news whenever a PC exclusive gets released.
I could kinda only see that with Baldur's Gate, but everything else, not really. I don't think many people really care if a game's exclusive or not, because usually they come to other platforms over time, similar to how both Xbox and Sony do it, so maybe that could be true. But I could see the only time that argument could really apply is Baldur's Gate, since that game was fucking massive. But then again, when I'm searching for games, I don't really care if they're exclusive, as long as I can play it, sit down and enjoy it. I don't really care for exclusives. The only time exclusives are ever mentioned, Harmon, is about console exclusives coming to PC. No one advertises PC exclusive games. If they do, it's only temporary.
And usually it's some like established minor niche thing that just has a dedicated cult following. You know, stuff like Half-Life Alyx or Baldur's Gate 3.
Damn, those are some really fucking niche games. You know, one's a VR game, that could make some sense, but you know, the franchise itself, nah, everyone knows what Half-Life is. You've at least played it once in your life. But for Baldur's Gate, no way that is niche. That is the dumbest argument you have thrown out. Like, imagine sitting there and coping to yourself that Baldur's Gate 3 is niche. You know, the previous games, absolutely. Not everyone knows what they were, but Baldur's Gate 3, absolutely not. Everyone knows what that game is. Everyone's heard about it. So you can keep crying about that game succeeding over Tears of the Kingdom.
Right? These aren't major releases. These aren't games that are going to be remembered 20 years from now. These aren't relevant.
I don't know about you, Harmon, but I'll be remembering Baldur's Gate for more than 20 years because that game was damn good.
Right? It's only relevant because it's Half-Life. It's only relevant because it's D&D, right? That is the current situation when it comes to PC gaming.
It's only relevant because it's Zelda. It's only relevant because it's Mario. It's only relevant because it's Fire Emblem. This can go both ways, Harmon.
That this is an ecosystem that appeals to people that have way too much time and money on their hands.
What, you can't relate to that? I don't know about you. Being a multi-quadrillionaire really goes hard.
And as a result, generates a ton of revenue in spite of being an objectively inferior experience. And I think with the advent of the Nintendo Switch, with more and more people getting exposed to all these great Nintendo games, Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Fire Emblem Engage, like there are dozens of examples last year alone of games that will never, ever release on PC.
Harmon, that really aged like milk. I hope you know that Tears of the Kingdom is already playable on PC. Like, I think to my knowledge there's an emulator that already has it available. So I don't know about you, you might want to get your pitchfork out.
In any capacity. Oh, what about emulation? It's piracy.
You know what, I'm just gonna say it. As the time has gone on over the last couple of years, and there's less and less reasons for you to actually buy and own your games, well, you never actually owned your digital purchases from the start, just a license. I'm more than happy with piracy as a thing, as at least you get to own that game that you either, well, not really purchased, but if you can change it to where you actually own that game permanently, and you're able to play it offline, then absolutely. I think it's absolutely fine. But saying that emulation is piracy when it's mostly just done for the purposes of preservation, or bringing back an old game, its servers, or whatever, it's usually done with good intention. It probably doesn't help that Nintendo chooses not to preserve their games, so it's up to the communities to do it, so you can keep crying about how it's piracy. I would rather be able to play those games and see future generations play those games whenever they fucking please, without needing a fucking paywall for a 20-year-old game.
So the instant that Nintendo is able to crack down on piracy and start sending these people straight to prison where they belong, where people like Oh No, It's Alex can enjoy dropping the soap, right?
As a wise man once said, Harmon, you're not a man until you've had a man. I just can't wait to go to prison for emulation, that would be cool. It's like, what are you in for? Oh, I emulated a game. I know, I'm a fucking demon to society. I shouldn't be allowed. I'm a psycho. Like, imagine that. Like, this guy probably killed someone. No, I just emulated a game. Got life in prison. Yeah, that sounds like the ideal lifestyle. Free food, taxpayer money seems real fun. Just imagine, like, if someone sees, like, your criminal record, it says, oh, he emulated a game. That's just golden. You get a fucking felony for emulation. Yeah, that sounds like fun.
When we see that start to happen, emulation is going to drop like a rock. And in a lot of ways, people don't really understand, like, Nintendo's anti-piracy protection. Like,
I wish Nintendo the best of luck to stop people from doing emulation and preservation of games, because they won't succeed. The community will usually win that. It doesn't matter if it's illegal or not. If Nintendo will not preserve their games, the community will do it for them, with or without their permission.
What it comes down to really is that there is a certain demographic that is religiously obsessed with the idea of Nintendo failing no matter what and going third party when...
I am yet to meet these so-called people that Harmon Smith continually goes on about, saying that Nintendo will go third party. From everything that I've seen, they are the largest console out of the 3 consoles. I don't think they will be going third party anytime soon, as they are relatively consistent with their exclusives, and they seem to be doing pretty good for themselves, regardless of what people think of the company.
That is becoming more and more obvious is never going to happen, right? It remains to be seen just when and how Nintendo will objectively, like, surpass PC gaming,
Harmon, it's never gonna happen. I don't know why you keep trying to tell yourself it will. It won't. You're not gonna beat PC. PC is just way too far ahead. There's no competing. Not even PlayStation and Xbox are gonna compete. That's why they're just porting their games there. It's just free revenue. Nintendo will probably start doing it eventually. Like, how is Nintendo gonna compete with PC? What are they gonna do? Release their own branded parts? How the fuck are they supposed to compete with a PC? No one owns the PC, it's just everyone goes there to put their games. How are they supposed to win? Harmon, I don't know how you came to that conclusion that they're gonna win that. It's just stupid. It makes no sense. I don't know what you're even arguing at this point. Why do you exist anymore? Stop existing, please.
Because right now, I think there's like an argument of like, the free online play and like the digital storefront and like, the ability to upgrade your own parts and just like the sheer nostalgia factor of just playing on PC your entire life and simply not knowing what's on the superior Nintendo platform.
Boy, I do feel nostalgic to upgrade my PC. That's something interesting to think about. Do you ever just get nostalgia whenever you want to upgrade? You're like, damn, I wish I could do that again. That must be so much fun to think about, and there's such a nostalgic light. It is pretty funny watching you bitch and complain about piracy or emulation, whatever you want to call it, and then say that PC players have never experienced the greatness of Nintendo. I don't get how you can say those two things in the exact same video. Do you not read or watch your videos through to make sure you said stuff right? It would really help your points and arguments. Maybe you would actually make some fucking sense, but then again, I don't think that's ever going to be possible. You're too schizophrenic to really know what you're saying.
Right. I think it's very clear, simply observing the community, that people who play on both, who have high-end gaming PCs, like myself.
Harmon, I am yet to see your PC. It is the Bigfoot of gaming PCs. It is the embodiment of the ideal cryptid for a PC. It just does not exist.
And gaming, and Nintendo consoles generally lean towards Nintendo consoles. Now, PC gamers will try and gaslight you into thinking it's the other way around, but that's obviously not the case.
I know I've already said this, but I am genuinely scared that Harmon Smith has the right to vote.
So, when you look at the actual what Nintendo is doing with their software and hardware, it's becoming more and more obvious that there's nothing that PC has that can compete with this.
Harmon, I don't know how many times I have to keep saying this, but PC and Nintendo are not competing with each other. They are two separate markets. One is a console, one is a multi-purpose platform. They're not going to compete. There is no competition.
Right? All they can do is just put out worse versions of what Nintendo already has. In order to try and mitigate, try to deal with the Zelda problem, they have to, shove Dragon's Dogma 2 down your throat.
Okay, listen here, Harmon. You could have said anything, but never shit on my boy Dragon's Dogma 2. That game looks amazing. How dare you ever shit-talk that? I will end you, I swear to God. That game looks brilliant. Leave Dragon's Dogma out of this. It is better than anything Nintendo will ever push out. I know, look at me defending a game that hasn't even released yet, but this is literally you for what you said. You're a goddamn monster.
They have to shove Monster Hunter. They have to just throw everything they possibly have at the wall to see what sticks, right? From slop, right? They have to do the Dark Souls thing. They have to keep trying to gaslight you into thinking Zelda is some stale derivative franchise.
I am yet to hear anyone actually say that. Where do you get half of this from? It's just confusing trying to figure out where you actually come up with these opinions and how you actually say them with actual confidence to believe that you're actually correct.
Because if you knew that Zelda was a innovative franchise that completely redefined gaming with every major release...
So this is kind of the last thing I want to respond to, but it's painful enough as it is. Yes, you could argue that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was innovative, as there are not many open-world games like that incorporate building mechanics. And of course, compared to the other games, Tears of the Kingdom does it flawlessly. It's genuinely a good building system, but compared to actual building games, it's not that good. But if you remove that building mechanic, then it's kinda just like every other open world, just with a Zelda coat of paint. Not too much different from many other ones. Well, I think that's enough for me. I'm kinda getting sick and tired of Harmon's video, as it goes on for about another 4 to 5 minutes, so I guess I'll leave it here, and then I'll get ready to start making the videos on the PlayStation Fanboy Salt about the Xbox Direct. So, I'll see you then.